Incline here with X Ranger. We're right in the middle of some action as far as champ select goes. We missed a few bans, few picks. X Ranger, you want to give us a quick recap?
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that, fellas. Sorry about that.
Impromptu sub streamer here, so we're working through the kinks, but we will get there, I promise.
We are done. The Kha'Zix ban came out for Hyperior Acid. No surprise to anyone involved. It looks like WP is focusing primarily top lane bans. In all four of their first bans going to the top lane. Definitely wanting Papa Skips to be able to have a good lane phase where he doesn't get exploited through a top lane camp or a strong presence up there. Whereas Paragon is focused on some mid lane bans, getting Papa off of his Urgot, which he plays extremely well. I can say that from experience of getting smacked by it a couple times. And they targeted Angel with the Zyra ban, so that kind of catches us up. It looks like 5 top lane bans coming out from WP, with that Jarvan being maybe a jungle pick.
Now on the side of P5 now, we've got a Nico. Do you think that's going mid lane, or could they flex that to support?
Well, it looks like right now that's going to be going mid lane with the Janna hover and the Janna pick. So it looks like we're going to see a mid Nico, which we haven't seen yet. It is a very strong champion. It's got very good wave clear, very good CC if you can land the E off of a pass through. And then we got a Camille flex going on right now. It could go jungle and it could go top. I think they're going to wait to make that choice based on what Adapt here picks.
It would make sense to flex that. Now we do see the tank top laner come out with Maokai and Sejuani in the jungle, so we've got some beefy front line on the side of WP.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Camille, if it goes top, can smack around that Maokai pretty good. The early levels could be a little bit tough, but it looks like we have a Pyke support coming through. It could still go mid, but I would say it's probably likely that the Lux is going the mid.
Pyke Lucian is probably one of the strongest 2v2 bot lanes we could see right now, especially into an Ezreal Janna. They definitely are going to have priority. So how do you see that one playing out? With the Nautilus matching the Maokai in the top lane means Camille is moving to the jungle. How do you see the early laning phase play out here on the side of WP?
Nautilus is going to have push priority. Nautilus is going to probably do more. I mean, he's taking Ignite, so he definitely wants to kill him. He's going to out damage him. He's going to out push him. He's going to out trade him. The Maokai does outscale for sure. Like, Nautilus isn't going to be able to go damage. He's still going to go tank, but yeah, that's definitely a laning pick. They want to kill that. They want to kill that Maokai. That could be an interesting one. Bot lane looks like they're on the Paragon 5 side. They're just going to be farming and try to get out of laning phase without too big of a deficit. I expect Camille to be hovering top and mid. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, the Nico versus Lux is definitely a volatile matchup. So now we're waiting on the spectator delay. We've got about 2.5 minutes to talk matchups. We touched on mid lane just a second ago. It looks like Lux is rolling with the barrier. Nico is pulling out the Ignite. Looks like Nautilus did make a last-minute change to teleport from Ignite. That would have been a bit greedy. How do you see the jungle matchup playing out with the buffed and or just straight-up changed Sejuani?
Well, that one's kind of interesting. I did play quite a bit of Sejuani top today to try it out, to try the buffs out. He does a absurd amount of damage for as tanky as he does get. I still think that the early pressure is going to go on the side of Camille. I'm sorry, I'm getting a spectator bug, so I'm going to have to reload here. But I do expect that the jungle pressure is going to go in the Camille's favor. But if he does find him in the jungle, I think he will have a hard time actually bullying the Sejuani, especially if the Sejuani unless he gets a jump on Sejuani, right? Like if he gets a jump on Sejuani, I think he can still fight him pretty well. But if it's kind of the opposite way or the opposite way around, it's going to be very tough for the Camille to really expose that.
Yeah, the new Sejuani buffs definitely makes her a lot more of a damage threat in the mid to late game as well. When the Q max and the E max come through, the base damages on those were pretty dramatically increased at the cost of some passive and some CC timings. The Camille, excuse me, the Camille nerfs from a few patches ago, as well as the Tiamat nerfs, definitely ruins her priority a little bit, but she definitely has still some strong early presence. You'd have to imagine here that Acid is going to look to path around the bot side of the map. That looks like their biggest power point, it would seem, and they want to play to that. You get the Lucian rolling, you get the Pike rolling. Those two can goon squad the entire map with Sejuani. How do you see, if you're P5, what is your best play here to mitigate the bot lane taking over everything? If you're Camille, are you looking to camp mid? Are you looking to, I mean, obviously with Camille, you're not going to power farm, so you're going to be looking to gank early and often. Would you prefer to see Scarian going top or mid? Or just look
If
to
if
answer
it's
bot?
me, if it's me, I think what you do is just camp top, get yourself tons of gold, get yourself a huge lead. Nautilus has excellent gank setup. He has excellent sticking power. I think that you just straight up win that 2v2 if Sejuani is up there for a counter. I think you win that 2v2 pretty hard because the Nautilus is going to out damage the Maokai. Aftershock or Grasp, whichever he goes. I would assume it'd be Aftershock.
So Ranger, what
But
you're
yeah,
telling me here is that the top lane main wants to see the junglers go topside.
you're damn right, dude. You're damn right. Sejuani does do lots of damage, but I'm telling you, I think that Nautilus and that Camille are just going to gangbang that Maokai over and over again. If I'm Nico, you're going to wave clear, right? You're going to wave clear, try to get some vision in the river, and just kind of try to keep that lane forward as much as possible. If you catch Lux with some ease, you can do some good damage, get her out of lane. But yeah, if I'm Nico, I'm looking just to farm it up, get huge. Yeah, Nautilus went for the grasp. So yeah, they're gonna win those trades up top pretty heavily. I don't think you realistically, until you get some levels under your belt, I don't think you can kill the Lux unless she's pushed up. And Ezreal Janna, unless Lucian and Pike are sitting under the turret, there's not a lot of gank set up there. I think your best bet, especially with the way that the lanes are probably going to be positioned, is going to be going for that Maokai. But yeah, here we are in game. I guess we're going to find out. Do you think that Nautilus goes for any invade? Do you think they go for an invade here?
I don't think, I think that would be a little bit risky. It looks like I might be experiencing a spectator bug as well, unfortunately. It looks like nobody's loading into the Rift right now. So I do apologize for those of you watching the stream. We're going to go ahead and reload that real fast, see if we can't get this working for you guys. Do a quick reconnect. Apologize for the delay. Again, late sub as a streaming option here for your SFL2 tonight. Hoping to get this all worked out and get the kinks working out as we move forward in the season. All right, I think we're live now. X-Ranger, do I still have you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure we're working through this together. We're gonna go ahead and minimize that. So level 1 action. Looks like Nico is transforming into the Nautilus as an extra threat. Stacking in Pixel Bush bot lane.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
This is pretty important because you are going to want to get that ward down in that pixel brush. Somebody should be walking up there to try to get that, but it looks like they have vision of them, so they're just going to be backing off.
Ezreal hits the Q, gets a little bit of gold.
I do like stacking there to try to contest that ward so that they don't get it down, so the Sejuani's not going to have that information from that brush, but I think that
Minions
Pike
have
might
spawned.
go up toward it anyways. Yeah, it looks like a straight up standoff. They did get that ward. They did get the ward down on the red buff, and it looks like Wasted Potential has got a ward down in the tri-bush down there, which isn't going to really give him a whole lot of information. I think it was more just to scope out a invade. They do get the ward down in the pixel brush, so Acid's going to have that information if Camille does go down to that scuttler here.
Looks like the Ezreal Janna are the first ones to lane, trying to get the early shove on the bot lane. You would expect to have priority through the first several levels. Camille looks like she's trying to clear the Raptor camp after going for red rather than going buff to buff or straight scuttle. Sejuani's looking for the bot side scuttle crab.
And they do know that he started. They do know he started red. They can probably assume that he went to chickens afterwards, and now that he's gone to scuttle, they are pushed up a little bit. Bot lane is, so
Yeah,
we'll see if he tries to make something happen.
Bit of a
here.
risky invade on the path on the part of Pure Acid right now. His bot lane does not have priority, but it looks like he may get away with it. We've got some danger pings coming down on the Camille top lane, so they have seemed to have spotted out that that counter jungle. Looks like we got some vertical jungling going on in the early game here. And this plays to what you were expecting in the pregame, with Camille looking to split the map and play around topside.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it necessarily on the side of Acid. He's kind of hoping that he can get a gank off on bottom, but with his bot lane pressuring and pushing in already, and his his top laner kind of in a rough spot health-wise. I don't know. It's gonna be feels bad for this Maokai, especially if he keeps getting banged around by this Nautilus.
It looks like Camille is about to spot out our Sejuani in the jungle. We've got a bit of a skirmish here. You have to imagine Camille wins this extended trade. The bot lanes are collapsing. This might be first blood. And that's going to go to the Nico, who was first on the roam.
Yeah, that's a feels bad for sure. The double buff's going over to both sides.
The light will guide you.
And yeah, that's kind of it. 2 for 2. The Nico with the 2 kills is gonna feel pretty bad, especially with the double buffs. Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. That's gonna propel him straight into that lost chapter. Top lane's pushing back. We've got one corrupting on each side.
Mic off.
Yeah, this isn't a pretty good spot for Camille if she does want to come up here and get a gank.
Mic
They can
on.
definitely force a pretty good back off for their Nautilus and get some pressure if he can get up here.
And Nautilus does have
Yeah, that wave's in a real bad spot for the Maokai. He really wants to push that out so that he can get his back off for the Nautilus.
We've got a Camille with red smite too here, so this is a wonderful opportunity to P5 to make a little bit of an advantage for themselves.
Yeah, there it is.
Summoner has disconnected.
Oh, it looks like the Lux has disconnected due to an audio bug. It's all going great tonight.
Yeah, there's a
Early season things to work through, right?
That's right. I'm pretty happy with the way both teams are playing. There is a farm disadvantage on the side of Camille, or excuse me, on the side of Sejuani, just getting a couple more camps under his belt. But yeah, we might be seeing a gank up top. That's going to have to be a flash, but I don't think it's going to matter much. he is a goner. He died to the gank.
Looks like we had some action around Scuttle Crab right around the time that the Maokai was being ganked. Maokai does lose his life and his flash. He teleports back to lane. Kill going over to the Camille, who's now sitting on 1 kill, 2 assists, which as an early game Camille, even if you're down farm, you're looking to get those ganks off, get your lanes pressured. And with a 2-0 mid laner and a 3 kill credit Camille, looks like you might have some early pressure that you can snowball into mid-game skirmishes.
Yeah, this Nico is really putting hurt down on Lux. That wave clear, the amount of damage, the double buffs early, definitely assisting there. She ends up ulting for the wave clear just so that she doesn't lose minions as she backs. We got some action bot lane. Looks like there was a heal burned on the side of Ezreal. Pyke, Lucian doing their best to be aggressive in this lane. They're gonna get the first back off. Well, I guess they've already backed, but yeah, they're doing their job as a Lucian Pyke lane, bullying around the Ezreal and the Janna. And it looks like Camille might be looking down bot lane, but she's spotted out by wards, so she's not able to get a whole lot done there.
Yeah, we had a good ward over the wall there by, I believe that was Endril who placed that after getting a hook on the Ezreal, forcing out the heal like you mentioned. It does look like the Sejuani was able to steal the red buff and is looking to return the favored top side, but will get spotted out and nothing able to be done.
Yeah, that's a really good ward to have. Catch that out. Yeah, if I'm Paragon right now, I am looking to just keep going top, keep that Maokai behind, and try. He's already getting a CS lead. It looks like a little bit, but that with the Nautilus saving TP, if you can get up there again and get something down, you can really put that dude behind, especially with the TP advantage still holding.
Yeah, down in the bot lane, I think we've got a really good opportunity for a play here. Sejuani just hit 6. We've got Maokai Maokai's about to be taken down by Camille. Action all over the map. The Nico roams top. The answer to that from WP will be to take the Infernal Drake, but we'll see if we can get some, got some gold on the side of WP, or on the side of P5 rather, in the form of turret plates.
Yeah, answering with the Infernal is definitely worth. They are a team that probably scales a little bit better. Like they're gonna have a little bit more damage coming out of the Ezreal, and the Maokai is going to be more tanky than the Nautilus later in the game, depending on how far behind he gets set. He lost probably about 10 minions to this.
Acid will miss the ultimate, but that does force the flash from Ezreal, which is something that may be able to be punished. It looks like they're still going to chase. We have the flash W, the heal comes out from the Ezreal. The E stun comes off, followed up by the Pyke ult. There's some gold for those two. And the Janna flash comes out as well. Are they going to continue to the dive? Looks like they are. There's the double kill for Pyke. Looks like Sejuani will donate her life, but that's 2 kills for the Pyke, which are shared gold across the board. A lot of bot lane pressure here for WP. In addition to the Infernal Drake, this game is going pretty much exactly how they had hoped.
Yeah, I agree. Getting that bot lane ahead really, I mean, they were already ahead. Now you drop 3 assists on the Lucian, 3 kills on the Pyke. Yeah, that bot lane's gonna struggle to be able to withstand the pressure that's gonna be coming out. And the Maokai should be able to continue to stay at least even with the Nautilus, right?
P5 is looking to answer with a gank mid lane. Looks like the Camille and the Nico will combine for the kill on the Lux, but Nico will be shut down. In the end, that's a good play by Routledge there to outplay the 2v1 and at least get something in return.
Yeah, that shutdown's gonna feel pretty good too. I believe, what was it, 650? Is that what it was?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit of gold. Makes up for a little bit of the gold discrepancy. She is gonna have her Ludens before. It's just gonna increase her wave clear. She should be able to continue pushing in the Lux and applying that pressure.
Now I think is a very important time frame for P5 to answer before this game spirals out of control. I think you mentioned that the scaling is probably on the side of WP, especially with that Infernal Drake. P5 does still have the advantage mid lane, even with the death of the Nico. She has just finished the Ludens, like you mentioned. A play needs to be made here by the mid-jungle duo of P5. Where do you see that taking place?
If I'm P5, I mean, I know it's kind of a joke right now, but yeah, I still think you need to get that Camille farther ahead. I think you keep going top. Look to dive mid maybe again. With summoners down, it'll be easier. Camille does have flash, so she can cover a pretty good distance going into that mid lane. They need to try to get vision on acid so they can't get punched too heavily for it. Yeah, she's got her warrior. It's a good start. She's going to be trying to get to that Triforce. I still think you need to cover top and try to use that gank assist. You can't really go bottom. It
looks like WP is about to go bottom. Looks like we're setting up for another dive here. The ultimates are off cooldown.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Ezreal and Janna do have their ultimates available as well. It could be pretty difficult to dive them. And Nautilus does have his TP if he sees fit to make that a 3v3.
Acid decides that it's not worth sticking around bot lane too long with the Janna. Looks like he's looking to make a play mid. That is one dead Nico.
Yes, she is. Oh boy. Yep, that's a feels bad for sure. There's no wards on that side of the jungle. Her jungler was top side. Probably shouldn't have been hovering, but it is what it is, right? The trades are not going as in the favor of Nautilus as you'd like to see at this point, especially with the two assists on that side. The Aftershock's doing its work pretty well. Not quite winning these trades as much as he probably could. Had he gone Aftershock himself.
Yeah, bot lane on the half of WP continues to push up, continues to get turret platings, continues to get pressure for their team. The culling's going to come out from Lucian. We've got a half health bot lane. Camille is hovering though, looking for the counter gank. Level 9 Camille.
She has ultimate available. Yep, there it is. And that's a shutdown for the Ezreal. That's going to feel real good. The 600 gold probably puts him pretty close. If you could hit X so that I can see the gold. I wasn't able to load back in. If you can hit X, you should be able to see the gold. I would like to see maybe what the gold discrepancy is between the two of them.
We've got more play mids as Lux is going to get taken down. Camille is looking to make plays around the map. They may rotate that down into the Dragon, look to match Dragons 1-for-1 while we still have the two tanky boys up top lane going at it. Nautilus is ulting, forcing the flash out of Maokai, flashing to follow. The Maokai's W into dodge, the heal comes out, but the Nautilus wins in the end. That's a dead Maokai. Nautilus finally taking advantage of that early matchup that you were mentioning.
Here we go, yep. It was a little greedy for him to stay in that wave, knowing that he didn't really have the minions to help soak that damage. But yeah, in the end, it looks like Nautilus got that kill. That solo kill is going to feel real, real good.
Camille caught the pike there just a moment ago, but he was able to use the invisibility, and Camille didn't want to chase too far without vision. They are setting up around the Dragon. We may see a skirmish here. It doesn't look like the WP is wanting to give this one over for free. We do have both top laners with TP if either team wants to make a play. Here comes the Nico ult. Both TPs come in. It looks like the Sejuani will secure the Dragon. P5 is baiting the chase, but doesn't look like they want to commit too hard. Those can spiral out of control with the Pike ult, as we know, which is off cooldown, so it looks like both teams will reset, return to lane, and WP will reap the spoils. Not only did they take the Dragon, that's their second one of the game. They're looking to potentially turn that into more. Oh, looks like they're going to back off now. Nautilus is bot lane. The Ezreal's going top, so it looks like P5 is ready to get out of that 2v2 and move around the map.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good call. Talos has got probably overstayed his welcome as far as killing the Maokai anymore. You can bully him around, but that matchup's still he's not gonna get much more of an advantage top with the current itemization and things like that. But he is gonna be able to farm safely and catch waves from the illusion pike. He shouldn't be in much risk of dying. Meanwhile, the Ezreal and the Janna can get up there and get some free farm without much risk of getting any kind of serious threat.
We've got a double blue handoff followed by a gank top lane from Sejuani. The ultimate's going to come out from Janna. She's still going to get smited down. Sejuani will pick up the kill before the Pike can finish the ult. Looks like they're going to chase the Ezreal under turret. There's the flash. Ezreal will survive with a few HP. Camille's coming in for the counter. Looks like she may be by herself, though. Ezreal does not have a whole lot to offer to the fight. Looks like it's a 4v2. Nico is still mid lane with Nautilus bot. Camille will pay for the sins. That's 2 for 0 on the side of WP.
Yeah, that Camille play was a little bit ambitious. I don't see much to be gained there. You don't really have enough damage right now to take that Sejuani down right away.
It's still sitting on just a Sheen, so not quite the Triforce spike you're looking for as the Camille.
Pretty ambitious to go in there and try for that. Well, 4 of their members are still there and haven't had time to recall, so I think it's definitely, that was a little bit of a misplay there. Nautilus is getting lots of farm bot lane, should be able to get some damage done on that turret, but I don't think he's really at risk of taking it, especially with the Maokai moving down there right now.
WP, in the meantime, did take up the Rift Herald, so there's 3 for 3 as far as neutral objective control goes. Sejuani is still hovering topside, looking to potentially make a play with Pike, whose ultimate should be coming off cooldown shortly.
Yeah, with all of those summoners down, if that Janna moves up the ward, she's going to be in a world of hurt.
Acid has been sitting in that bush for a long time on the control ward, just waiting for somebody to show up where he can counter gank. Looks like Pike's finally given up, trying to get some vision in the river, looking mid maybe. Camille's hovering with the Nico. And a blue trinket will come out, finally spotting Acid as the P5 bot lane continues to play safe and look to farm up. Ezreal is still on the 1.5 item. He hasn't quite completed his second item yet. The Nautilus is starting to be able to beat the Maokai in the 1v1.
And that Grasp is really starting to do some damage.
He does have the completed Iceborne Gauntlet as well, while Maokai is still sitting on components at 18 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I understand getting the Bomby Cinder and getting the Spectral Cal. I don't know why he went to the Chain Vest so early. Especially since he hasn't really been in a spot where he's been fighting.
The only physical damage, the only physical damage on that Maokai will really have to deal with is going to be the Camille. Looks like the ultimate from Acid is going to try to catch the Camille out. Doesn't quite work out, forces her to E away, so that's a cooldown burned there. Still about half time left on the Rift Herald, looking to make a play. We do have a second Infernal Drake coming up in 20 seconds. That is one you have to imagine that there's going to be some skirmishing over. I think this may be a good time for WP to drop the Herald in a mid or top lane to get some pressure while they look for the Dragon.
Yeah, I think you drop it top if you have the ability to. Without TP, Maokai going top lane is probably not the call, especially with an Infernal.
P5 is making their play. They shut down the Lux with a good catch from the Nautilus. They follow up with a Pike catch, but they will trade with the Camille of their own. So we do only have the jungler alive on one side. That is the side of WP in case there is a Dragon skirmish. However, it's a 4v3 right now with the support and mid lane of WP.
Oh, it's not an Infernal. It's an Air Drake, another Air Drake. Okay, I don't know why I thought it was an Infernal earlier.
It looks like the top left. We do have another pause. So we got all sorts of fun things. Is that a spectator bug on the top left of our screen right now? It looks like we've got the Infernal insignia, but you are right. In the mini map, we are seeing another Air Drake.
as somebody who jungles, I'm not surprised you don't look at your mini map very often. But um,
Fair enough.
but but yeah, but yeah, it does appear that it's an Air Drake on the mini map and a Infernal at the top left. But I'm fairly certain that the one on the mini map's correct.
I would tend to agree. I think you're right on that one. So where we're sitting here, we're 20 minutes into the game. P5 with the latest skirmish, and with the CS discrepancies in a few lanes, despite being down in despite being down in CS because of the few skirmishes they have been able to take. They do have they're only down by about 900 gold, despite having lost 2 dragons and a Rift Herald. So if you're P5, you've been able to stem the bleeding a little bit. Do you look to fight over this dragon when we get back into the game, or are you going to concede this and continue to try to get your Ezreal to 3 items?
I mean, it's kind of a tough call. The Ezreal's not in a real great spot with the Janna. They don't really have a lane that they can go to that they're able to just freely farm. They could try to match the Maokai as best as possible, but I mean, then you're kind of at a damage discrepancy somewhere else on the map, right? You've only got, your jungler and your top laner and your mid to face, 4 members of the opposite team. Doesn't really feel very good. And Ezreal's not really in a place where his wave clears enough to kind of push in the Maokai effectively without him being able to roam, and without TP. If you're in the wrong lane and a fight breaks out, that fight could go very, very wrong very easily. And with Baron live and a Blade of the Ruined King, ADC, and a Sejuani to tank, I mean, that's a real life threat, right? If you're in the wrong lane and you lose a fight, you're not going to be able to be there to try to poke him off or to try to catch some kills. I almost think you should put the Ezreal Janna mid, try to wave clear as best as possible, have the Nico push in the Maokai and then try to roam. They got to get some sort of vision on Acid, though. He's following around his lanes very effectively and getting plays done when he needs to. And yeah, he's definitely been the driving force so far on this game. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It looks like TP is going live pretty soon, so I would assume that Nautilus goes top lane. Maokai's probably going to try to stay bot lane. That turret's pretty low bot, and the turret's on the opposite side, and the top lane is also fairly low. So if a play goes south, or somebody gets pushed off in either one of those lanes, those turrets will fall. I'm not sure who DC'd.
I believe it was the Maokai. I believe it was
Yeah,
Papa Skips.
so
Looks like we're still waiting on that. Looking at the gold graphs here, or the gold by champion, even though Acid has been everywhere on the map and making plays, the Camille making a few questionable plays, but in the mid game here has picked up the pace, has been able to be a pretty key part of some skirmishes, in addition to diving the Lux a few times. And I did lie about the Maokai being the one that DC'd. It looks like he's still in chat. Not really sure who we're waiting for at the moment, but we'll get back into live action as soon as we can. But the Camille does have a slight gold lead, but the majority of the gold lead on the side of WP that you can see the discrepancy is all about that Pyke. The Pyke versus the Janna, that's where the big gold discrepancy lies in this game right now. Ezreal is down a little over 1,300, which is pretty substantial as well, while the Nico lost a bit of her lead, but is still trying to hold on to the item spike advantages. We can see here that she's finished the Luden's Echo, which is matched. Both have the Oblivion Orb, while the Nico, however, is building into that needlessly large rod, while the Lux opted for the Source shoes for the extra early penetration.
Yeah, I would think that Nico would be sitting on that needlessly large rod for a while. I think you finish your boots first for the double pen. It looks like Lux is reconnecting, so she should be back in game here pretty quick. But yeah, I would assume that she would go for the Source Shoes second, or next, I should say. I think she just backed with a lot of gold and was able to purchase that right away. And it with the extra damage, that is gonna feel pretty good. But I think double pen and this movement speed is going to be pretty nice moving into this mid game here.
And we are back to live action. We've got a dragon on the table. We'll see if WP can make it 3 for 3. There are pings in that direction from the red side. I think the key power spikes here on the side of P5 that we're waiting for, the Triforce from Camille, which she's close but not quite there, and the Ardent Sensor on behalf of the Janna. Neither of those have been completed yet, so fighting for this dragon may be a little riskier than they otherwise would be.
Yeah, the Camille's probably close to about 1,100 gold off of the Triforce, 11-ish. So that should be, I mean, I would think it'd be her next back, hopefully. Assuming all things go well, they already got to the dragon, they got inside track on it. That is gonna be, yeah, with the Nautilus top, I can imagine that's realistically.
We do have a fight coming out. Camille went over. That was an interesting choice. They tried to follow up with the Nico ult. That didn't quite pan out. This is being chased now by WP. That's 3 so far. That's 4. That's 4 for 0. And the dragon on the side of WP. And they still have the... Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like the Rift Herald did time out during that fight, so the Herald never got dropped unless it got interrupted and we didn't see that. But it looks like WP is going straight for the Baron. Do they have time to finish this?
It's a little risky. I think they do have time to finish it. They have 2 tanks to soak damage. Sejuani's on his way. They got Fork, they got a Pike, they got Lux with a healthy amount of mana. I think this is probably their Baron. Unless there's a steal here.
Steel's looking. There is a blast cone. Sejuani's over the top to take away the blast cone. Pike's going to look to peel that off, but the Camille gets into the pit. It's going to be a smite fight, and the red team steals the Baron. Way to go. Camille is able to pull that off. That risky play backfires on the side of WP. You took the fight. You took the dragons. You could have reset and spend your gold. Instead, you go for the risky play. And now P5 are right back into it.
Yeah, that's gonna feel pretty bad. They definitely could have knocked down that mid inner, or excuse me, that mid outer. Instead, they went straight to the Baron. I feel like they might. Well, I mean, it definitely in hindsight was the wrong call, but it's a bold move. I think the smite fight was unlucky. I think they probably should have just waited and tried to knock the Camille out of the pit or held off damage. But.
Well, at the very least, P5 is going to be able to stall it out. Taking that off the map, even if they're not able to get a whole lot done with it themselves, is huge. Obviously, the gold itself from the Baron. We're still looking at about a 2.5k gold lead for WP, but maybe this is the opening that P5 needed.
It's definitely going to allow him to maybe knock down that mid turret. Top's for sure going down. It's got no hope of staying anymore. Or maybe not, I guess.
Somehow, 23 minutes into the game, we've taken 3 dragons, a Rift Herald, and a Baron, and a turret still has not fallen. We're sitting at 0 towers apiece. First brick is still available 23 minutes into the game. Is that a sign of good defense or interesting priorities on the half of the winning sides?
I mean, the amount of neutral objectives being contested and fought over, I don't think you can really complain too much about turrets being up. And with, it looks like 3 turrets or 4 turrets on the map are damn close to falling. It's more a byproduct of how the game's been played out so far. No TP. Looks like Maokai does have TP. Nautilus does not.
So Nautilus is at the TP disadvantage, yet P5 is choosing to do the 1-3-1 setup with Camille in the bot lane. If a fight breaks out mid with the Sejuani or the Pike initiation, Maokai can join, Nautilus can't. Looks like we'll see if WP is going to look to force things. It's the Camille again going in by herself, is going to get deleted by the Lux ult. Pure Acid then catches out the Janna. That's a double kill. We've got Nautilus finally taking a tower. Meanwhile, WP is taking the kills.
I don't know why you do that. You know, their team in chat's real fun. I really like their banter and everything. But come on, guys, we don't need to take this fight. There's no reason to follow him down in that pit. Your jungler was far enough back to get out of there scot-free. There's real no reason to push your advantage. You got Baron. You have a wave clear mid laner. Sit mid. Fish for Ezreal Qs. You know, fish for bindings from the Nico. You know, just keep your waves pushing. You can play it slow. There's no reason to follow them down there. There's no reason for the Camille to go in on that. Yeah, this is a pretty feels bad right now. You definitely need to have some way of getting down to that bottom tier 1. Mid's gonna have to fall at some point if you want to win this game on the side of P5. I don't know. They don't really have a effective side laner outside of the Camille, and if she's your jungler, you kind of need her with the team. You can't just be splitting the whole time.
Yeah,
so
P5 is looking
spot.
for a death brush here. That may be one of their only ways back into the game. They're down 5k gold, 3 dragons to 0. They did get the Baron steal, which was an incredible play by Camille, but then he threw it away bot lane by once again going in on a fight that they really had no business taking. Best case scenario there, maybe... Can you ever win that 4v4? I don't know. Like, even if you interrupt the Maokai TP, it's a hard 4v4 to win with where the bot lane of WP are at. Now we do have an Infernal Drake spawn. WP has the inside track. Looks like Janet's going to hit with a Q, looking for maybe a steal. Endrill will get the ult. Here comes the Pike. Camille does get the shutdown on Lux. Camille is going now looking for the Lucian. Can she get the double shutdown? Nope, that's going to go to the Nautilus. This is an extended fight, very messy. Endrill is still alive, doing work on the Pike. The Nautilus is going to fall eventually, but he's going to trade his life in the process. That's several shutdowns going over to P5, which will help possibly equalize the gold a little bit, but it looks like we're still at a 4k deficit. However, now Endrill's just going to stay around as the Pike and solo the Infernal Drake as his reward.
Yeah, they gave over a lot of shutdowns. They were down 9k, right? That's about what it was.
Yeah, it was, I believe, around there.
Yeah, it's about 8 or 9k. Now they're only down by about 4.5. So, I mean, they gave about 3,000 golden shutdowns, ish, you know. So, I mean, yeah, the Dragon, that fight was really good. I mean, trading even a little bit disjointed with that amount of shutdowns is definitely worth it if you're P5.
Oh no, the Camille gets caught out by the Lux Q, will be deleted from the map with the final burst from the ultimate there. We do see the TP from the Maokai come in. WP is still looking for the Infernal Drake. This one is probably just going to have to be given over. You can't even look for a steal. That's going to be 2 Infernal Drakes and 2 Cloud Drakes. The steal from the Ezreal ult almost comes through, but the smite is true. Got down to about 300 HP on the Dragon, but it's secured. Now they're going to look to push up mid lane.
Yeah, these mutual objectives are really stacking up.
Oh no, Janet just gets deleted. Yeah. Caught out and deleted. We barely have time. I'd love to get your thoughts. We've got non-stop action here. And I know, unfortunately, for those of you watching, I think Mr. X-Ranger may be, unfortunately, a few seconds behind because of some spectator issues that we've been having, which has made this stream a little bit of a challenge. Lux is going to get another kill, but will pay for it with her life. She ends up trading her life for the Nico. And it looks like with the Baron up, WP is looking to at least get vision control, maybe take down the top tower before looking any further. They already lost 1 Baron to a Camille steal, so they may be a little hesitant to take another 50-50. The kills continue to come around the map. We've got a little less than a 7k gold lead on the side of WP.
Yeah, I think there's still a chance. This game's definitely not over. Ezreal's still scaling. He's going to get his 2nd tier completed. His damage will ramp up eventually. The Lucian is strong, but is definitely able to be shut down, right? The Nautilus can get onto him no matter what, so...
Yeah, the big money maker right now would be the Pike at an 800 gold shutdown. If they can find the slippery little guy and take him out, especially now that he has a GA, that'll be a little extra gold in their pocket, but that's going to be a tough ask. I think the fight around the Dragon before the well, at this point, like 3 fights ago, where the Camille got the double shutdown is about a best case scenario for P5. It's hard to imagine a better fight than that. It was very disjointed, where Camille and Nico can do work while Ezreal is pinging Qs and autos from the outside. A front-to-back team fight definitely benefits WP, not only because of their lead, but their comp in general.
Yeah, I think if you're on the side, I mean, if you're on the side of P5, you definitely want to kite back. You want to try to get some damage done, and then kind of move in as cooldowns are burned, that sort of thing. The Lux is going to be a big problem. As
Death
this
cap
game goes on,
yeah, both
she's
mid
just
laners.
going to be doing just an absurd amount of damage. Nico's a strong champion, has a lot of burst, but she is a little bit more mid-range than Lux. That's in there. That was real weird.
Looks like WP is willing to play the patient, slower game this time around. Sejuani's really tanky. Also with the Warmog's armor, able to tank things up and then back off. We do have a fight though. Nico's going in on the backline for the deletion. She gets the ult off and takes out the Lux. Camille's going in. We've got the shutdown on the Lucian. This is a great fight for P5.
That was an excellent ult by the Nico. That was excellent.
Flashing forward onto the backline. We do get the shutdown on the Pyke on the Camille, which is exactly where you want that gold to go. That is a 3-for-1 on the side of P5, and they're looking at the Baron. Acid is still alive, though. He's on the back of the pit. I don't think they know he's there. Now they do with the Ezreal Q. Looks like we got to turn on the Maokai. Maokai is not that tanky anymore with the Bork on the half of... Oh, I'm sorry, we don't actually have the Bork completed on Ezreal.
He's just not that tanky.
He's just not that tanky, yeah.
He's just not that tanky.
Sejuani is very tanky, though. He's going to survive for so long. The Nautilus is out of mana. Pure Acid will survive, and with the Warmog's armor, rather, is going to heal back up. So that's going to force P5 off the Baron. So I think that was really well played by the two frontliners from WP. Even though they lost the fight because of a great play on the side of the Nico, they didn't give over the Baron.
Yep, that was a win. 100% win. Honestly, for both sides, I mean, keeping them off the Baron's really good for wasting potential. Those shutdowns going onto their carries is really good for P5. You know, at this point, I think you just need to try to keep your Janna alive, try to keep your Nico doing damage. If you can get on that Lux again, that would be great. I think that's kind of the win condition in these fights. I think that between Camille and Nautilus, they can keep the Lucian busy.
We've got a lot of skirmishing around this next dragon. The Camille gets caught by the Q. The Sterix will keep her alive. It looks like they will secure their own blue buff. They don't have the intertract on what will be another Infernal Drake. This is Infernal number 3. WP is looking to secure this. Doesn't look like there will be a contest. The Ezreal all came really early. Blue team secures the dragon. That's 5 dragons on the side of WP. And are they looking for the Baron?
I think you can. I don't see any reason why not. You're full health. They got to reset. You don't. Walk straight over there. Start beating on it.
We have a Nautilus TP coming down from the top lane. No, Janna face checks the bush. Will get instantly deleted. Pure Acid.
No.
That poor Janna. Just trying to get a little bit of vision for his team, just not tanky enough to survive. WP is once again playing a little more conservative around the Baron. They're trying to win some more fights first. The Nautilus is able to tank up a lot, but not everything. And this may just be the game.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough. I don't see any way you really win this one.
That's a double kill for Adapt. There's only the Camille alive on the side of P5. WP will take what you have to imagine is a free Baron. Camille is respawning, but doesn't look like there's going to be enough time for her to get there. She's just going to choose to clear the mid lane, while Pyke looks to set up the threat on the mid tower as soon as Baron gets taken down. Camille's going over the wall to follow Pyke. This may have been too risky, too greedy for Mendril. Mendril trades his life while he's trying to set up a minion wave while the rest of his team gets Baron. That's 42 seconds on the Pyke, though. That may be enough to slow down the push just a little bit. but it's hard to see
No,
if
I
that'll be
think
enough.
I think if you stack, his stack his floor. I don't think there's really a whole lot they can do.
It is almost a 10K
Illusion,
gold lead.
yeah, your Lucian just does way too much damage, and your tanks are too big right now to really take enough damage to matter.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like more of a formality at this point, barring a miracle fight from P5. The comps, as we talked about earlier, P5 really needed to get the snowball going with the Camille, Nautilus, and Nico. All of those are more early-facing champions, especially with the Ezreal, Janna, neither of which are really as hard scaling without much of a front line either to speak of. The Ezreal ult you saw just tickles the Sejuani. Barely any damage there, and anything that does stun is just going to get healed back up by the Warmogs. It's hard to play a comp with, I don't know, like, in your mind, if they had picked a harder scaling AD carry, with how bad their bot lane got smashed, it's hard to say whether or not that could have worked, but the Ezreal's just never going to be able to kill those two front lines at this point in the game.
Yeah, I think the problem with picking Ezreal into Lucian is that the Lucian is going to be able to do damage pretty consistently and at a high rate. The Ezreal's more of a poke champion, right? In those skirmishes, he's great. In the long sustained late game team fights, he's going to do some damage. But the Lucian's just going to outperform him if he's got two tanks in front of him. The Janna doesn't really pair all that well with the Ezreal. It was supposed to minimize the damage bot lane. I get that.
You do have to question the Ezreal build too. When you're facing two hyper-scaling tanks that nobody else on your team can take care of, not having a Bork completed by 36 minutes is definitely questionable.
Yeah, that feels bad. Going for the double tier right away, while it does scale pretty well, delayed that Bork way too long for as much health as some of these members are having on their team. Yeah, the Maokai and the Nautilus are just having a blast down there, high-fiving over and over again. Yeah, that Baron, or that inhibitor's gonna fall now too. They can just kind of walk it in, buff up their minions, poke and chill, poke and chill.
The Nico's going for a last-ditch effort. They did have to try to make a play there. It's not gonna matter. WP is gonna clean up. They're gonna take the towers. Camille's going to trade her life as well in a last-ditch effort. She does have GA, so it's going to stall for a few more seconds. In the end, she falls. That's a killing spree for the 10, 6, and 13 Lux. And it looks like WP is going to take game one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what you do. You know, I think you need to look for something out of your bot lane. Get rid of the Lucian. You know, if we're not going to be able to stay relatively even against it, if you're not going to be able to kind of withstand that pressure, you got to get rid of it. Acid's going to run over the entire map if you're not able to pressure all the lanes, or a couple lanes at least. But when your ADC is keeping up with your Nautilus and damage, you know, it's kind of feels bad for sure.
Yeah, based on that comp, the Nautilus did work, got the early lead, did take advantage of that. In the end, the Nautilus took the first brick, but yeah, the damage sources from P5 didn't come through in the end, weren't able to work through the front line and the Fed Lucian Pike. I think that was a better draft from WP. I think it was better executed, and we probably would have had a game that was finished 10 to 15 minutes earlier if Camille hadn't come over the wall with that pretty incredible steal to stall things out as long as she did.
Yeah, I think the Camille had some really, really good plays, but she also had some pretty historically terrible plays that she could have probably done a little bit better with. In the end, she didn't do too bad, but there were a couple of those where she went in when she probably shouldn't have. Might have been miscommunication, might have just been, you know, seeing red. Think you might get a catch that could blow the game open. You messed up. Yeah, it is what it is. I think they need to get, so if they know the top laner is going to go for some tanks, if they're going to ban out all of those carries and stuff, you got to figure out, you got to think like he wants to be on a tank, right? If you're banning 5 top lane carries, fully champions out, you know he's going to be on a tank. Get something up there that can abuse that fact. They play very well around a double front line, so maybe trying to force a skill match up top and then try to sway it with your jungler might not be a bad idea. Ban out the Lucian, for God's sake, please.
Now,
And then
I'm
try to
assuming we are
figure
going to
something
get
else
a
out.
side selection swap based on the selection here. So P5 would have the opportunity of first picking the Lucian if they choose to do that on blue side. If WP is not going to ban that out themselves, is that something you'd want to see on the P5 bot lane?
What's that? Pick Lucian?
Yeah, pick Lucian
Sorry, I
first
was.
overall. If they, assuming they move to blue side in game 2, would you take the Lucian or would you just look to take it off the table?
If they do not play it, if they do not play the Lucian, I want to see it banned. If they do play it, I think it's a really good first pick. I think it's a really good first pick. If they're worried about bot lane being able to hold even, I'm not sure. But they kind of picked very safe rather than taking in something that might have been able to expose the Lucian a little bit or kind of counter pressure. If they do want to just play safe, maybe just ban out the Lucian and put him on something like a Caitlyn, maybe a Zaya, right? Um, Try to get him on something that's a little bit more aggressive, or a little bit more like that has a little bit more damage scaling if he does fall behind. But yeah, the Lucian's got to go. It's either got to get picked or it's got to get banned. If you're gonna get smashed by it like that.
Absolutely. It is tough to point to a single point in that game with how much back and forth there was, exactly where the breaking point was. I do think one of the earlier things that could have changed on the side of P5 if they wanted to use their comp a little bit better, they did have the bot lane push early on, but they still, they split the map vertically, which means they allowed the Sejuani to take their blue side jungle when your bot lane's shoved up. It would not have been too difficult had they chosen to do this, to bring the Janna and the Ezreal, collapse in the Sejuani. The Nico had a little bit of an early lead as well, was getting those early shoves against the Lux. Maybe that could have changed the way that played because Acid really was all over the map, as he so often will be. And on the Sejuani, especially once you finish Warmogs, you don't really ever have to leave. As long as you have mana, you can stay on the map. We saw him sitting on control wards for extended periods of time, looking to make plays. He got the bot lane ahead with the dives in the bot lane. And even though P5 was able to get some advantages top, and eventually they did make the smart play of lane swapping after they lost a few dragons, and the only thing left was the Herald on the map. That did delay the first brick quite a long time, but they weren't ever able to really play to their win conditions, even when the Nico was ahead. The Nico was able to
I agree.
kill the Lux repeatedly with the Camille, but they didn't really take that lead and move it elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I am going to restart my computer because I am not able to log back into the League client. I will be back shortly.
All right, we will go to a short intermission and we'll be back with game 2 of WP versus P5 in the Sugar Free League Week 1.
Mic off.
Did you mute this game sounds?
Mic on.
All right, we are live again with the Sugar Free League. Game 2, Paragon 5 versus Wasted Potential. No surprise, there's a Kha'Zix ban coming out against iPure Acid
A
because
Kha'Zix
he
ban versus
is
Acid.
super dumb on that champion. Another Renekton ban. Irelia, I think they're just going to 5-ban top again. I see no reason why not.
Yeah, so if you're P5 here, you want to take a different approach. It looks like they're banning the Lucian instead of first picking it. So it looks like they're not willing to first pick that for their own bot lane, so they're taking it off the table.
Word, I agree. I don't know why you... if you don't want to play it, get that shit out of here.
So if you're P5, you're going to look to first pick the Nico. You're going to change things up a little bit. The Nico was pretty big early on in the game, but wasn't able to translate that lead into anything meaningful. Jarvan ban's going to round things out on the side of WP. Let's see who blue side P5
pick the
values
Sedge,
the most.
flex it top, dude. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, I
No
could see
joke.
the early Sejuani does make a lot of sense. It can be punished if WP looks to play the early style. But you could definitely do worse in 9.1. It looks like we're going to see a Kai'Sa throwing the gauntlet with the bot lane. The Kai'Sa priority #1 for P5.
Trying to scale, and I get it. I get it. It's not a bad pick. With the Lucian down, there's not really a whole lot of stuff that's going to be able to punish it severely in lane outside of maybe Caitlyn.
I think it definitely makes a lot more sense than the Ezreal we saw in Game 1, so I like that adaptation. They do have something that's able to burn through those tankier frontliners. Acid, it looks like we may be seeing him on the Sejuani for the second game in a row. They do lock it in along with the Lux. So they will take 2 of the same champions they had in Game 1.
Don't pick Camille. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Blind picking the Darius, throwing the gauntlet down. We've got 2 blind picks, top and bot, on the side of P5. They're not. You would think natively, yeah, you'd answer with mid lane here. LeBlanc into Lux. That's a pretty good lane with priority for LeBlanc, I would think, in the early stages.
Lux can push her in. Usually, if she can get a good push in early, it's usually the best. That way, LeBlanc can't get some nasty trades right away with her level 3.
We've got a Scion to answer the Darius. Mr. Top Lane Expert, how does that lane go? The Darius was blind picked, and it looks like, I mean, from my mind, is that a self-counter pick by taking the Scion?
Papa's going to want to, he wants to play a tank. Scion can deal with Darius a little bit. I mean, it's just like anything else. You can't really fight him one-on-one without dodging a couple of his abilities, or tanking through a couple of his abilities, right? So I get it. It's kind of a survive the lane and don't die as much as you probably could if you pick something else. Because Scion's always going to be useful, right? Even if he dies 2-3 times in lane, he's still going to get tanky. He's still going to be the Scion. And he can gank setup too. So if Sejuani does come top, they can take down that Darius. It is just going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and I think as we noted in the previous pick ban, Sejuani does have damage now. So even with the double frontline in the Scion Sejuani, that's also a decent amount of damage that can come out. With Scion stacking the Sejuani passive, and are we going to see a Vayne from WP?
Dang, that's throwing some shade right there, man. Don't hit him with that. Pick something. Vayne did get buffed on this patch. The 50% cooldown reduction on her Q while in her ultimate or whatever, you know, when she holds her crossbow a little different and starts turning invisible, she can Q a little bit more frequently. Well, that's active now.
I really want to see a strong support pick here. I'd like to see a mage support or something with a lot of early priority.
Dude, go Sona. She plays a million games of Sona. Go Sona. It shits on Vayne. Oh, that too.
The Nami, I like that for the lane pressure. The Kai'Sa Nami is going to be a pretty strong lane. You've got the LeBlanc, which is going to have a lot of early roaming potential as well. The Darius should be pushing in the Scion and maybe getting kills there as well. I love the Kayn pick on the side of P5 as well. This is a beautiful red Kayn game. You're going to have a lot of value from the max HP you can get off of Sejuani and the Scion, as well as the healing there. Looks like P5 is going to answer with the Lulu to keep the Vayne alive.
That's not a bad call. It matches the Nami a little bit. It probably scales a little bit better than the Nami. I think one thing that the Nami can do is if Scion does ult straight down your team, you can Nami ult through him. It's not going to stop him, but it should slow down his team enough that you can burn down the Scion quick. You got a Kaisa, you got a Darius, you got a Kayn. You should be able to knock him out real quick, and then any kind of follow-up engage coming after it could be dealt with afterwards. But we'll see how it plays out.
The comps we have here are definitely two very distinct styles. WP is clearly indexing in late game. Lux does have some early and mid game potential in skirmishes, but the rest of that comp is looking to scale, get Vayne to his 3-4 items, and then just be an unkillable tank killing machine with the Lulu. On the other side, we've got P5, which is looking for a lot more early skirmishes. They've got the LeBlanc, they've got the Darius. Kaisa does have priority in the bot lane with the Nami, can set up a lot of plays with those 5 champions and the Kayn roaming around. You have to imagine that all else being equal, the Kayn should have relative free reign in the jungle. They should have priority in the side lanes, like we mentioned. Mid lane should at least be even for the LeBlanc. If you're pure acid, how do you answer?
You guys just got to scale. If I'm WP, I'm looking to keep lanes even. Try not to get snowballed on. I honestly, Sejuani should go top. Try to get some gank set up on the Darius. But
Where have I heard this before?
I know that sounds ridiculous. But realistically, he should be hovering mid and top. Bot lane should be a farm fest. Your Vayne is gonna scale. So is the Kaisa. So leave him alone unless one of them starts losing or you get to see an opportunity. But your biggest question marks here in the games and the lanes that could blow this game wide open is if the LeBlanc gets super far ahead or the Darius gets super far ahead. If your Scion is seeing gray the entire game, you're fucked. So I think your best bet is try to get him through lane phase or at least get him to a point where he can stabilize and not just get, just smacked around constantly. That's going to be really big. And honestly, Kane's going to farm. Hopefully he can get some red stacks. He should be looking top. Like you said, he should be looking top to get red transformation because that'll be the win condition. If he ends up going blue, Sejuani and Scion are eventually going to get too big for it to really matter. You can itemize against Kaisa's damage a little bit easier than you can itemize against Vayne's. So if it does get super late and Vayne gets a chance to free shot, she's gonna 2-shot people, right? So I think you do. I think you got to keep the Scion safe. You got to try to keep the Lux safe. Keep trying to get dragons.
Yeah,
so,
if you're P5,
he did a great job of it last game. Yeah,
if
you're P5, you want to fight constantly.
Yeah, you've got to have priority. You have the priority lanes. You know you're getting outscaled. You are gonna have to play to your win conditions, which means you cannot let that Sejuani be in your own jungle in her initial clear. If you let that happen again with these comps, you are going to lose the game. Jungle is a team role, and again, as the jungle main, I'm going to be biased towards that role, just like my friend X-Ranger here is going to be biased towards the top lane. But you cannot let the enemy jungler, when they don't have priority, when they are on a scaling champion, when your team gets outscaled, you cannot let them in your jungle and take free farm. You cannot let that happen.
I agree. The Kayn should be looking to get stuff done. I might have another spectator, but I'm in.
Hey, progress. We might actually be
solid. Hey,
last game.
The game's going better than last time. My boys on Paragon 5 are gonna pull through. I'm rooting for them. They got cooler skins.
We've got biased casting. Can you believe it?
Biased casting. I am a Paragon 5 main. They've got 4 1350 skins.
The important things.
Two 1350 skins. They win. I don't see any way that you can outplay that.
So let's look at the keystones here. I don't think anything is all outside of the ordinary. Both AD carries are looking for fleet footwork. The only thing I do want to note is that we saw the Kayn opting for Dark Harvest instead of Electrocute, which is obviously a better scaling rune, but is not going to give you as much early pressure. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's fine.
It looks like
Electrocute
we
would
may.
probably be a little safer. Are you seeing it? Yeah, it should be coming up here pretty soon.
There we go.
Um,
Okay, we're in game. We're getting there.
Yeah, I think Electrocute might have been a little better, but honestly, like, Dark Harvest is fine. He's not going to be looking to finish too many of the kills early. I don't, you know what I mean? Realistically, the damage from his solo lane should be more than enough. So I like the scaling approach. I think it's fine.
Looks like we got a 5
adds
point
a
from
little-
both teams here. No early game shenanigans just yet. Lux is going to throw out the E. If you're P5, you're probably happy with the 5-point start. If you're WP and you can get an early ward and track the Kayn and prevent them from getting that snowball, that's a really early way you can just straight up win this game. Because I think as we've seen, WP has the individual mechanics, the jungler on the side of P5, which are blue side this game. And for anybody just joining us, WP does lead the series 1-0 in a best of 3. WP is on red side this game. We do see a couple of wards coming down. WP is going to get another red buff ward, as well as a ward in the top side Pixel Brush. Kayn is going for the leashless Raptor start, which is an interesting choice. Get your bot lane to lane as quickly as possible. Get that early push. I understand that is a pretty good decision, I think, in the current situation. And Sejuani's looking to start red. Sion will be late to lane. Darius is going to get the early shove. So we've got the priorities that we were talking about in pick ban. The side of P5 has to get lane priority and utilize that to their advantage. It looks like they're getting the early shove so far.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be important, right? Sejuani's going to have some lanes to gank, but I think if you're Sejuani, just get some farm underneath you. Look to counter.
Early level 2 for the Darius, who's going to go and get a nice little trade-off on the Sion. Just start to build that lead a little bit. Shove him off the wave. Sion's going to be down to a 3rd HP and bleeding out. That's not the way you want to start that lane if you're Sion. What can Papa Skips to stem the bleeding?
You gotta respect that, dude. Like you gotta respect the level 2 from Darius. If you get caught sitting up there autoing minions, like this happens, right? He doesn't get to play this lane until he backs. He's just gonna keep burning mana, trying to survive. Like,
oh no, he gets caught by the W, forced to flash. Papa Skips is down a flash in the 1v1. And it's worth noting that Pure Acid did take a much safer route this time, knowing that all of his lanes, for the most part, are not going to have priority. He's taking just his camps. And it looks like Kayn will spot him out at the Gromp. So Kayn's done a complete bot side clear, did get the Scuttle. Looks like he's going to go to top side to match that. And then if I had to guess, probably... Oh, we've got some pings on the mid lane. Pure Acid is looking for the gank, but he's going to get caught out, counter-ganked. First blood is going to go to the LeBlanc. That is pretty much exactly how you would hope this game would start if you're P5.
yeah, it was a good attempt. It was pretty unlucky that Kayn did a full clear on the bot side and then looked to go up here with Magic Pure Acid. Like, I can understand why he would assume the Kayn would have been the top side of the river.
I will say, like,
kinda...
it's worth noting they did see each other, I believe, on the bot side when Kayn hit the Vision plant. But yeah, you may have just assumed that, oh, well, Kayn must have gone straight topside to keep that farm up and looking to get some priority for his mid laner. Pure Acid pays the price.
Yeah, that's going to feel pretty bad, but again, you just farm. Just keep farming. Try to slow the bleeding.
Pure Acid does not need to force things. Looks like he's going to try to save Papa Skips. The Q will land. Can he get the passive proc off on the Darius? Aftershock comes down. Darius is going into the trade with the flash forward, and he heals out. Looks like he will fall in the end. Or will he? Oh, the Sejuani gets the slow on the W. Will the heal come out from the Darius? The flash from Pure Acid, and he will take him down in the end.
Good flash. If he got caught with the outside of that Q, he would have died. Good heads up play though by the Darius. He got the kill. He's able to deny some more minions from Papa Skips.
Kane is going to maybe look for the steal here. Nope. Sejuani will smite down the Raptors, but there's some red Kane stacks for the Kane. Darius is going to come assist.
Papa Skips walked right up to a 3/4 health trade. Yeah, this is a tough lane.
Down 7 CS, down a kill. Not looking great.
No, it's not gonna be a fun lane for him. He can just let this wave push into him, slow push it up, keep looking for ease.
As well as Pure Acid had played the early game, I think last time, I think he's gotten a little greedy this game. I think we mentioned that everybody on WP should be content with just scaling it out. They've got the team comp where if you go past 25 minutes, you should win. Darius, on the other hand, is going for another all-in on Papa Skips. Is he going to get out?
Yeah, he'll get out. I think he might be bleeding down, though.
Oh, no. Oh, no, the burn gets him in the end. And is Pure Acid going to get executed by his wolves? He does. Oh my gosh, things are going bad to worse on the side of WP. LeBlanc is setting up a potential dive opportunity. Nope, looks like she's going to back off. Just threatening. So this has gone pretty much exactly how you'd hoped if you're P5.
Yeah, that Darius is going to be really hard to deal with. This lane's going to just keep getting worse for Papa Skid. He is getting some farm though, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Like I said, if he can stop the bleeding now, he might be okay. The level 6 spike is gonna it already happened for Darius. He hasn't used it yet.
Oh no, Pure Acid, what are you doing, my friend? It looks like he's level 4 to Kane's 5. He's gonna get caught out. He may be able to turn damage around on the Kane though, who's not level 6. The Ignite's ticking down. Everybody looks like they'll survive. Kane's gonna heal up on the E. He's gonna go. Doesn't land what he needs. Everybody's going to continue to handshake it out, back off. LeBlanc is here now, so WP doesn't want to push forward anymore. All in all, just some health traded out, some pots traded out, one Ignite on the side of Nami, and Kane is going to go back to farming.
This LeBlanc needs to go back to base, man. Like right now.
50 CS, 1 kill,
yeah.
has not back yet. Still sitting on both pots as well, I think it's worth noting. We've got the level lead top. Darius is just continuing to bully Sion. There's not much Papa Skips can do other than just burn down under his own turret.
Yeah, he's gonna be popping these corrupting stacks on cooldown. He's gonna eat a CS discrepancy.
It's a rough life if you're WP at this point, because not only do you run the risk of being solo killed repeatedly from the top lane, you know you don't win the 2v2 if Kane shows up at this point, especially now that he's 6. Even more so once Kane hits his red Kane spike. So if you're Sejuani, Pure Acid's put in a pretty rough spot to just kind of take whatever he can safely. He did try to force something bot in which they didn't die, which was a positive, I would say. But we're definitely looking to stop the bleeding. There's almost a 2K gold lead at 8 minutes in a game.
Yeah, that's to be expected. I mean, you've drafted 3 winning lanes.
Oh no, Sion stepping up, greeting for the cannon. The Darius is waiting in the bush. He's gonna come out back off in time.
Man, I can't believe it. A jungler not coming top, am I right? No, I'm kidding.
Jungler is coming mid though. Lux forced to flash out. Here comes the Kane ult. The Ignite from LeBlanc. Is she gonna burn down? She catches LeBlanc with the Q and the E.
That's some blue stacks right there. That's what I want to see. I want to see some blue stacks right now.
We must have missed the Lux ulting the wave, I would assume, earlier. Otherwise, that would have been one dead LeBlanc. Looks like she may have ulted the wave before going up for the turret platings.
Yeah, that back timing from LeBlanc was kind of unfortunate. I feel like She gave up a lot of pressure, and she definitely gave up a 20 CS lead. Staying that long with just a Doran's ring, especially with no TP, it's kind of crazy why you don't just try to fast push that and call your jungler over to fast push that to attack.
WP kind of inexplicably is looking for the dragon, despite not having priority the entire game. It looks like we're gonna get a collapse on the half of P5. The ult will hit. They're looking. Oh no!
Oh!
LeBlanc gets deleted, and Pure Acid secures the dragon, despite being 2k gold down, and the scaling comp.
It was actually a really good play. The LeBlanc was very low from that gank mid. She had not respawned. She had not gone back to base yet, obviously. So she was very low in health. Didn't have any mana. So yeah, they went to do that.
So I think what you're saying,
health, yeah, it was good timing.
In
Very
the
good
end,
timing.
despite having a comp that should be unable to fight at this point, the tempo advantage, and you have to say P5 not playing to their win condition and snowballing an early advantage just gave a free dragon. It is only a mountain, which is not the most advantageous from a combat perspective, but they got the kill, they got the Drake. Now it's only an 800 gold lead. WP may stand a chance after all.
Yeah, there's about like 1,400 gold lead in the top lane though. That's not going away anytime soon. And like, yeah, this way he can just continuously bounce these waves off, deny Scion minions, deny him EXP. Yeah, he's in a rough spot. Yeah, he can just keep pulling this wave as much as he wants, slow pushing it up.
Despite the 30 CS, almost 40 CS lead on the Darius, though, Scion, based on the comps, is going to be willing to take that because you kind of have to. Like, you knew with this draft, getting into that is what you were going to have to do. If you're Kayn, I feel like you need to be forcing skirmishes a little bit more than he is. He's farming really well, but you want to get that red Kayn transformation as early as possible. Now, is Papa Skip's going to die here from the dunk from Darius? Nope. Just going to another half health him with the trade, take the HP advantage, go back to lane, farm it out.
Yeah, he eats another EWQ combo and he's dead though. I know he wants to stay for this wave, or at least for the minions, or for the experience, but this is going to be a dive if he doesn't watch it.
Kayn has all. This is exactly what you're looking to do if you're P5. You set the wave where you needed to do. You win that 2v2. At the very least, Kayn gets some red Kayn stacks, which is very important. But Pure Acid showing up is enough to force them off the play.
Not a bad call. Not a bad call at all. Oh, that misses. That's tough. Yeah, still gonna die for it though, I think.
Oh my gosh, what a play. The Lulu ult just in time. Fighting top lane is going to take us away. The Kayn ult comes out. Nobody's died yet. Finally, the Lux shows down, but the Vayne is going to get a little bit of a cleanup. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Darius trying to outplay the 2v1. We've got fights all over the place. Kayn gets caught out in the bubble. Kais is going to flash forward. The Ignite's ticking down, but it looks like he will survive. In the end, it's an extended, looks like 1 for 3 in favor of WP. Or in favor of P5, rather. Nope, I said it right the first time. In favor of WP. WP is red side this game. They are getting some turret plates top lane as well, despite having the Scion as far down in the laning phase as they were. Darius will have TP in about 4 seconds. Probably going to answer that.
Executed.
Oh, he looks for the execute for the quick way back to base and the extra stacks with the passive.
This Darius has cleaver now. He's still in a rough spot. But yeah, the gank from Pure Acid was really good. That shutdown is definitely going to be worth it for him. He's going to propel himself to be pretty tanky. But yeah, Scion's still in a tough spot. Darius is still very far ahead.
I think
bot lane, that's a 20 CS discrepancy. It looks like they did get 1 plate. Mid lane is...
WP is back in the gold lead after all of these skirmishes, despite having the scaling comp. I mean, you don't want to call a game at 14 minutes, but if I had to say how this game is going to play out, I don't think P5 did enough with the advantages they have pre-10 minutes to win this game. I think WP, with the scaling comp, with the way they've shown that they can out-team fight, I think this may be a 2-0 in the making, especially as mid lane Lux is clearly just able to one-shot anybody on the enemy team. Darius is the win condition, but how does P5 effectively play to that in your mind?
I mean, they're going to get to a point eventually where they'll be able to wave clear. Lux is going to be able to keep priority mid lane, and they can keep looking for these dragons. Kais is going to get strong though. You know what I mean? Like, she does have a 20 CS lead. She's already got her Storm Razor. It's not unrealistic. I think that if they can force Sion to try to match this Darius, I mean, it's just gonna keep getting worse, right? Like, once he gets Sterix, once he gets a little tankier and can deal with some stuff, he's gonna be a threat.
The ult coming out from Pure Acid on the LeBlanc. That's one dead LeBlanc. That's 2-1 and 2 on the side of the Lux, in addition to a 40 CS lead. LeBlanc just now finishing the Luden's Echo. They also got the Dragon on the side of WP, and it looks like Papa Skips might be dead. Nice ult coming out in order to survive. What a turn!
That's very, very good. He's getting a little desperate in the top lane. He does have the TP advantage, so he will be able to come back and push. Man, yeah, the mid laner getting destroyed is kind of unfortunate. She has 2-3-0, so she's got kills, she's got gold, she's got Ludens, and she's got the Source Shoes. She's still going to be a damage
She's
threat,
down almost
but
1,400 gold to the Lux. I do think that was a really important outplay by Papa there to stay alive. Ulting the Darius for the little bit of a knockback. Despite losing the mid lane tower, however, P5 did pick up the Rift Herald, so they finally pick up their first neutral objective of the series. It looks like we're setting up for dive 5. Kais is just obliterated. Darius is stuck into a 1v3 despite his lead. The rest of his team's coming up though. Kayn looking, but not gonna make a play there. So
yeah, no ult on the Darius. That's gonna be top turret.
So the Darius TP prevents that play from getting worse, but WP once again with their advantageous tempo, they're able to take another tower and look to continue their gold lead despite having a much better scaling comp.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough. Kayn needs to start getting big.
We did just see the Kayn transformation come through, so I think that's pretty important on the side of P5. You would have liked to have seen that a little earlier than 17 minutes, but better late than never. Lux hits a skill shot, and the LeBlanc's health bar. Yeah, LeBlanc just goes straight back to base. One-way trip. The mid lane priority, I think, is the name of this game. Despite having winning matchups top and bot, mid lane has just been a point of weakness for P5 in this particular game, and it's letting things get a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, you kind of wish you got a little bit more done with that LeBlanc. She's still going to be able to side lane pretty effectively.
The Darius is caught between a rock and a hard place. Kayn's coming, but it's probably too late unless he can heal it out. So many passive stacks, so many ultimates. The healing comes through. Kayn's here with the transformation. There's the shutdown. And Darius outplays the 1v2 long enough to get the done. And this may be the first tower for P5 if they look to use the Herald, which they do.
That's a good play. They've got bot lane pushed under, able to hold. The lane should go, or the tower's going to go down. They can push out the wave. They might be able to get a second charge. They're not going to obviously stay for it, but with LeBlanc moving, or with Lux moving up, I think you just get the hell out of there.
That was a really important play by Darius, able to flash out. He did eat the ult, he did eat some passive stacks, but his passive healing comes through quickly enough. to criticize the build again, I think last game we saw some issues with the Ezreal build on the side of P5. This game, I think Papa Skips not going for the early Bramble Vest and just rushing Sunfire was a grave mistake into a Darius. Even if you can't ever fight him in the 1v1, as a 2v1 situation like that, you have got to mitigate the healing enough where your team can help you take him down, and I don't think we saw that there.
Yeah, I agree. In the straight up 1v1 is fine. Yeah, when you're in a situation where he's gonna come top, you got to be able to mitigate that a little bit.
And that's kind of especially you have to understand that we had talked about earlier, the one win condition with the way that game was playing out was going to be the Darius. Nobody on the side of WP at 20 minutes has any kind of grievous wound, and I think this is the time where the Darius is going to live or die, along with the Red King. You have so much healing come through from P5. The fact that you don't have a single Grievous Wound item yet, just a Bramble Vest on the side of the Scions would make a big difference in being able to win or lose these skirmishes.
I agree. I agree with like the Vayne probably can't.
Oh no. Here comes the Scion ult. We've got so much healing coming down. Nobody's died just yet. The LeBlanc's doing damage on the back line. Kane dove in as well, still alive. Darius is still alive as well. They get the shutdown on the Sejuani. Vayne's looking to make a play.
Dead. She's dead.
Lux gets the kill. In the end, the Dragon goes to P5. It's a 1-for-1. Trading the jungler for the support.
First item purchased by Pure Acid as he sees the gray screen is a Bramble Vest because we saw what just happened.
There was so much healing coming through on the side of P5, even the true damage stacks from the Vayne, the great engage on the side of the Scion ultimate to catch several players, and the Lulu ult coming through to keep his own team alive, wasn't able to burn through the healing from the Red Cane and the Darius. At 21 minutes, we're pretty even still. You do have to say the scaling is on the side of WP. But gold is pretty close. Baron is up on the map. One good Baron play can make the difference, especially when you've got the win condition of your Darius, who can pop off in these team fights, as we just saw.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to be able to apply a lot of bleed on a lot of members of the team to stay alive. And with the double cleavers coming through, that Sion's armor is going to mean less and less. Sejuani doesn't quite have armor yet. He's got tabbies, he's got the Bramble Vest, but it's not all that great as far as mitigating a ton of damage.
One thing I'd like to point out here, I'm going to shift over to vision. The amount of vision that Red Side has in the river is really strong. WP's done a really good job. Endril right now, as you can see, is looking around Baron to try to set that up. Compare that to the blue side. For the most part, the rivers are pretty dark, despite having... You've got like a pixel brush ward, and then you have the sneaky ward on Baron. But outside of that, the map is pretty dark in the river and beyond. Looks like Kane is...
Yeah, the red vision is very, very strong around the mid lane. That mid lane turret, without much damage done on it, with Herald already being used top, it's going to be hard for them to knock that down.
There is so much wave clear.
Yeah, they're going to have to do it off of a fight. Having Lux and Vayne in the same lane is kind of unfortunate with the way levels and gold and everything else is working, especially the lead that Lux has. I'd like to see them probably split off a little bit. However, like, where do you go, right? Do you send the Vayne into the Darius lane? Do you send the Vayne in the LeBlanc lane, you know? Kind of a tough situation to be in.
Kane is going to smite Lux. Look to get the W knockup. It does land. Here comes the Nami ultimate to knock up into the bubble, but the damage isn't there because that turret is still alive. They can't follow. Acid is looking around the side. He's by himself, but he's got a Lulu coming. Sion's ulting from the bot lane. So tanky on the Sejuani. The Sion ult will miss, but the Darius is going to answer with the TP. He gets caught by the Lux ult, is able to flash out after healing up. Down come the passive stacks, and the E execute from Sejuani.
We got LeBlanc on the side.
She goes in and gets some damage, but gets knocked up and has to W backwards.
Yeah, they're about 2 items too far behind on some of their champions to start doing too much shredding on the way of LeBlanc and Kaisa. Once Kaisa gets another item, she'll be able to burn through this front line a little bit easier. But I'd really like to see him not commit TPs to stuff like that. Get a push, get damage on the turret. That, you know, they were out. If he doesn't TP, they don't fight, right? Your guys are kiting back. Just kite back. Forfeit some damage on the turret. Wave clear. They'll have to send somebody to stop that top push. You know, like, they're very trigger happy on the TPs. They were in game 1. I'd like to see him slow it down a little bit. Just get some split pressure. You don't win the 5v5s yet. That's pretty clear, right? Get some items. Get your death stance on the Kayn. You know, get another tank item on the Darius, and maybe you can stay alive a little bit longer in these fights, not get CC'd to death.
Yeah, like, I know we called it a little bit earlier, and you got to play the hand you're dealt if you're P5. You lost the advantage that you had early, but it's really difficult to see as they pick up the free Cloud Drake. But it's difficult to see without a miraculous pop-off from the Darius, who now does have to deal with multiple Grievous Wounds items. And WP's right on the Baron. They have the advantage. They do have the Scion ult for turn. They're melting it down. They've got the max HP damage. May come down to a smite fight, which they lost in game 1. Are they going to peel off, or are they going to finish? The Kayn's going over. The Kayn steals the ult. Oh, steals the Baron. Oh, no. WP for the second game in a row.
No.
The double kill from Lux. What is happening right now? In the end, P5 has lost several members. They got the Baron, but they lose the fight. The objective control has been so good for WP until it comes to that first Baron. But still, with their lead, their comp, they were able to clean up the fight. It's a 4-for-1, and it looks like this should be an inhibitor.
Yeah, bot lane got caught with a Lux ult, man. That Lux is doing work in both games. And they got the Baron, they got it off the map. It probably stalls the game out similar to like the first game, but they need to get some items.
Oh yeah,
Slow
no,
it down,
if that Baron goes over to WP, the game is over on that push, undoubtedly. As it stands now, it looks like they're going to be forced to take their gold, take the jungle, reset. Looks like they're going bot to continue the push for now. They'll probably look to get tier 2 bot, then reset and spin their gold. As you mentioned, the Lux, 5-1 and 6, the Vayne 3-0 and 2. Both of them, the damage dealers, have a front line of a Sejuani and a admittedly behind Scion, but still doing work, and the Lulu ult to back it up. It's difficult to see how a perfect fight for P5 really plays out at this point.
You hope the Darius gets a jump on multiple members of the enemy team. If he can slow down the Vayne, he's gonna two-shot her, right? He gets the W, he gets the Q. That Vayne's probably as close to dead as you're likely to get her.
I would like to point out the 20-stack Medjais on behalf of the Lux right now.
Yeah, with the needlessly large rod, she's going to be very, very strong. Nami and Kaisa will both definitely die if they get caught by
404 AP for Lux right now.
Yeah, and Kaisa's rounding out, trying to finish a Rage Blade. That's probably going to be the point where she's going to be able to deal with the Scion and the Sejuani a little bit easier. Yeah.
Rutledge has played a really clean game so far. He was the team's only pressure point in the early game. They were able to build an advantage off of that. And it looks like he's just going to be fishing for Qs. As soon as he hit one, you know, there it is. Down comes the Sedge ult. Kayn is going in on the backline by himself. He does stay alive, but the Lux hits 2, deletes them off the map. Kayn is still alive, healing up off the Sejuani, looking to get the passive stacks on the LeBlanc. Scion has finally joined the fight. Lulu ult comes out.
All in all, not a bad fight. Not a bad fight. They got Vayne dead. They got the shutdown on the LeBlanc. Her damage is gonna keep getting big. You know, all right, come on.
Warmogs on Sejuani is just gonna let him tank without the minions.
Come on. Hit him.
So tanky. Like, honestly, it's so hard when Lux can just throw out Qs on cooldown. You hit one, you just delete a member off the map. The ultimate's already off cooldown. And even if you see Pure Acid's down to half HP, all he has to do is back off for a second, and he's back to full. Meanwhile, it looks like Vayne is going to respawn, look to catch the top wave. We've got a dragon spawning in about 60 seconds. It's a tough spot for P5 to try to make their play. Still waiting on that next item on the Kai'Sa. Looks like Kai'Sa did go ahead and buy the stopwatch, which not a terrible idea, knowing that if you die in the next fight, game's probably over.
Yeah, I think one thing we might have underrated when we started this game is that there's not really a way for them to hit a go button on the side of P5. You know, without reliable engage that you can force, like a Sejuani or a Scion, it's pretty hard to get these fights started, you know?
Darius is going to stop the back of Lux. Are they going to have the damage, though? Lux just hits the Q, one-shots Nami, and they're going to ult out. LeBlanc is coming in looking for the execute, but Lux is going to burn down to the Darius. That is a very big shutdown. The double kill from the Darius. It looks like WP might have just bitten off more than they could chew. Stayed around a little too long, didn't take the safe back. Vayne's coming in, look. Oh, Darius under turret looking. Heal comes out. Vayne's here though. Kai'Sa, I am not really sure what that was. Vayne's doing work, shut down again by the Darius, who just can't die. What a messy game. In the end, it looks like it's a 3 for 4 in favor of P5. They have super minions streaming into the base though, and Pure Acid is going to stop back. I don't think Pure Acid, I don't think you win this 1v1. Although he does have the Grievous Wounds.
No, he didn't win this.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah, I was like, I kind of thought for a second. I'm like, well, he's got red. Maybe he can. Nope, never mind.
Darius was really low on mana, and that was kind of your only saving grace there, but in the end, it doesn't matter. More shutdown gold over the Darius, who is now 7-5-3 with a 550 gold bounty of his own. We're at 31 minutes, and WP comes so close to playing so good, and every single time they have an advantage, they give it over.
That Vayne is very, very strong. Rapid fire cannon, 3 completed items. The Rage Blade is done on the side of Kai'Sa. Still has the stopwatch available, so we'll see what happens.
The Rage Blade is done on the side of Kai'Sa, but that doesn't help you all that much when you decide to go melee range of the Sejuani. So that's something to maybe keep in mind there.
As we see Darius sitting on a ward.
Out comes the sweeper. Now searching with the Kai'Sa W. They will finally spot the ward, clear that out. They have the inside track on Baron. They have won the Smite fight twice on 2 Barons if they're looking to make it a third. Willing to take the 50-50, but you're going to have to get rid of the Lux. If you get rid of Lux, you get rid of Vayne, you have to kill at least one of those very early into the fight if you're P5 and you want to stand a chance. Although Vayne is looking for the dragon, this is the perfect time if you had the go button.
Yeah, they know. They saw it. They saw it. Oh, that's disastrous.
What are you doing, WP? You send your Vayne, gets caught out. Vayne is at the fight now, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to get deleted. P5 is going to clean up. That's 2 killed. LeBlanc is chasing Pure Acid off the Baron. This should be a free Baron on the side of P5. That's going to be 2 in a row.
That's a Vayne, or that's a Lux that hits like a truck sitting on the outside of that fight, though.
Oh! No. Right on cue, the Lux catches him out, deletes 2 of them off the map with 1 Q ult.
Oh my god. Get me into a solo queue game and let me pick Lux. I want to do that.
Rutledge is doing his best hard carry impression. Like, I really have to question the decision to put the Vayne down. I understand that you want to take the dragon while everybody's dancing around the Baron, but you get seen on the ward, and immediately P5 has the opportunity to engage. Even though they don't have the go button, like you mentioned, they were able to get in with the Kayn, with the Darius. They win the 4v5, even though Lux is able to, you know, clean up in the end there with the ult. This is a messy one. Still kind of up in the air. I want to say the scaling is should have come into effect by now at 34 minutes, but somehow, some way, P5 keeps finding a catch when somebody's backing, stealing a Baron. They're finding ways to stay alive in this game, in this match, because you lose this match, you lose this game, your match is over.
Yeah, you got to be careful here. You got lanes pushing. Darius is big. All right, come on. Stop queuing forward, baby. Let's go. Like, they need to figure out something to do with that Lux. Like, the barrier's up. I mean, God, 23 stacks on the Magi. He's got to do something quick. LeBlanc's got to look for her. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's almost got to be LeBlanc.
Through the barrier and the Lulu, it's so hard to just instantly assassinate with this comp.
I agree. In best case scenarios, you catch her from the side. Yeah, this feels bad. I don't know. I mean, you keep dancing, try to clear out vision as best you can, but they're just going to keep getting pushed back farther and farther away from this Baron, and then they can just take the inside track straight to the inhibitor.
WP is going to use their mid lane priority to go back to Baron, look to maybe rush it down, or just set up for Vision to maybe get a catch. Rushing down the Baron and taking a 50-50 smite has not paid off for them so far in the match, in the series, really. The Baron dance continues at 36 minutes.
The waves are pushing, and they can get a little bit of reprieve. That should get rid of all the control wards in the area. They're
like
finally getting that mid turret down. Hell yeah, very good play. Heads up. And just push him off, clear the wave, rotate back to Baron, clear out the vision, rinse and repeat.
I have to ask, with where you're at team-wise, why doesn't Sion just engage with his ultimate at this point? Like, I understand that, I guess you're not the one forced to make a play, but when you know the other team doesn't really have a go button, and you're not really able to control waves because they do have a better 1-3-1 comp, I feel like at some point...
Well, a lot of it's got to be, I mean, you miss your Sion ult, you lose the fight, right? If you die before your team can get into it, I mean, you're hoping for a lot of positioning errors, right? They're working with imperfect vision. They're in an area with lots of corridors, lots of hard areas for Sion to ult straight down and hit multiple people. I mean, your ideal situation is ult right when they start going to the mid lane turret, right? That would have been when you could have gone. But like right here, where does the ult? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no. At this moment, there's definitely no side to really catch him. But if you can force a fight in the corridor, I think that's your best bet if you're WP to win that fight. They are going to get, again, the Baron dance continues. They're going to get vision control. They are going to go ahead and start it. Looks like they're willing to take the risk of the smite fight. Lulu's going to get caught out by the Darius, but they may be able to burn down the Baron before anybody gets in range. They peel off.
Oh, Kaisa. No. Oh,
this looks like it's about to be a clean ace on the side of WP. The scaling has come through. That's a triple kill for the Vayne. They're going to chase down for the Quadra, just end the game right there. There's the scaling that came through. It took some time, but in the end, the misplay again by the bot lane of P5 is going to end the series in favor of WP.
They had all the pieces. They just needed that. They needed Kaisa to be hitting that front line. You can't, in a front-to-back team fight, you can't just skip the front line and go backwards. You know what I mean? They have so many ways to keep themselves alive. You got to hit the stuff in front first. I know it feels bad sometimes, but I mean, you can kill. You win that, you know. But in the end, it is what it is.
MVP of that game, in my mind, is Rutledge. He does finish with a 25 stack Magi's and a 700 gold bounty on his head. 10, 2, and 11 on the Lux. He got his team out of the rough early game into the mid and late game where the comp just took over.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I know what I would ban if I was playing Wasted Potential. If I had to take a guess, it'd be Lux.
So it looks like you're going to ban Kha'Zix, Lux. Doesn't leave with you a whole lot of bans left in the first rotation, but I tend to agree.
I'm banning every single jungler against Acid, all of them, because apparently he counter jungles, gets early dragons. I mean, this guy's great. IPR Acid played his brains out. Rutledge played his brains out. Pop Skips did a great job stopping the bleeding top lane, and their bot lane did the work. Right? They did a great job of pressuring early game, the first game, and they did a great job this game scaling and being a factor in team fights. Very well played by their entire team.
I agree. In the end, they played to their win conditions a lot better than P5 did. P5 had the lead; they couldn't do much with it. But WP was able to play to their win conditions, like you said. Papa Skips was able to stop the bleeding. They moved around the map, picked up dragons where they could, and in the end, despite throwing at the Baron again in the first time, but they still win the fight. They still get advantages. They break the inhibitor, and eventually they're able to win the game off that.
Yeah, but also on the side of P5, heck yeah, well done getting those two or three Baron steals, 2 Baron steals. Their top laner tried his hardest to get some wins out of there, and pretty much had the game in his control for a good portion of that game. Bot lane is rough go, right? There's some stuff that pretty hard to play ADC into a double front line, especially when you aren't running a double front line. So yeah, it wasn't a bad showing. Definitely some stuff to work on though.
Absolutely, and we can take a look at the damage stats here before we sign off. Darius finishes with the most damage in the game, followed by Lux. The Sejuani still doing work there. Pure Acid doesn't need to be on Kha'Zix to do some of the most damage in the game. That Sejuani is looking like a very strong pick in the current meta. Maybe something you may look to ban, especially when you're playing WP. Apparently.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be very good. We'll see how the rest of the league faces the Sejuani in the coming weeks. With that, I think we're done. We can move over to Sugar Free League 1 to finish watching the games for the night.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with us through some of the technical difficulties. This has been Incline and X Ranger for SFL2. Signing off.
Yep, later guys.